Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's House. Today, we're spotlighting Rumors by Fleetwood Mac and the year 1977. Now, 1977 was another crazy year. There was blackouts. There was disco, punk rock, Star Wars, Saturday Night Fever, you name it. It was a wild and crazy year, and it was the year I started junior high school. Junior high school 231, to be exact, in Queens, New York. It was a terrible school in a terrible neighborhood. And I'm going to give you an example. Now imagine this. You're 12 years old and you're walking in the basement of the school and two kids pull a knife on you and hold it to your neck and say, "Give me your money and your bus pass." And I didn't have either, so they stabbed me. No.
I was going to say, did the kid give it to you?
Story.
No, then I said, you're cool. You're cool. And then they shook my hand, and then we're best friends.
Oh, so cool.
And he works over here now.
Were you wearing the velvet jacket?
No, I was not. But it's just, can you imagine such a thing? Putting a 12-year-old in such a terrible situation, you know?
Unacceptable.
Why
Exactly.
were you in the basement?
Yeah, we don't know about that. We don't want to talk about that. That's another subject.
Yeah, that's another story.
But anyway, I actually stopped into the old neighborhood the other day. I was driving past. I stopped in the old neighborhood. I went to my old house, and I rang the bell, and I asked if I could look around, and they said no, and they slammed the door in my face. And I was like thinking to myself, man, my parents are so rude. It's ridiculous. You know? So one story that I did have a very fond memory of 231. It was in my Spanish class that I remember the Spanish teacher I had. Yes, it was Senor Otero was his name, right? Ooh. And I guess he was trying out a new method to get to the kids and try to be a hep cat, you know? So he figured that he would play a song and that would help us learn Spanish. And it wasn't Oy como va, nothing like that. It was a song. I don't know if you know this. It was like a folk song, I guess, or something. It was called No Tango Dinero. Have you ever heard of this song?
No.
Oh,
I ain't got no money.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Right?
I don't have money,
Yeah.
right? So anyway, he puts on this terrible folk song that's in Spanish, and I thought we would just listen to it. But he starts dancing around, prancing around, singing it in Spanish, trying to get us all to sing along. And we're like 12 and 13-year-old kids in the ghetto, and we're not going to sing along to this. So
is that why you were the host of Sábado Gigante?
Yes,
yeah.
that's where I learned.
You got inspired.
So now we're going to talk about my Man About Town segment. What wild, crazy things I've done this week. And what did I do this week? I went to jury duty this week. Now, from my past discussions, people might think I would not be a good candidate for jury duty. But when I went in this, I said, all right, I'm going in with an open mind. I want to do this. I want to take it seriously. And I was picked on a jury like that. 5 minutes in, they bring me into the room and they say, all right, you're the perfect juror. Come right this way, Mr. Margillo. So I said, all right, this is going to be good. I'm going to
They didn't see your show, right?
Right this way.
In case you, I better, bring that up here because I was doing a show in the past about the show Making the Murder, and I had Laura, the attorney, on, and I said, I believe that it's okay to frame guilty people for murder. So that could be taken the wrong way, I guess, in certain places.
Really?
But
She took it the wrong way.
and I said that, pretty much all people that end up going on trial are guilty. Of something, not that specific crime. But I've since retracted that. That's the thing about me. I grow and I learn and I develop as a human being, unlike some other people who shall remain nameless. I'm not talking about you. I was talking about Stephen. So anyway, I get on this trial, and I can talk about it now because it's over, right? And it was the most ridiculous trial I've ever been on, and there was no reason for it to be a trial because this woman, she had 2 prior DWI arrests, right? And then she was sentenced to 2 years loss of license. And then 30 days later, she was caught by the same cop driving. So she was arrested and given a ticket, and that's what this trial is about. And I said, all right, she must have some crazy defense that it wasn't her or something. But we go up there, and there's absolutely no defense. that 10 minutes, both lawyers give their case in 10 minutes, and then it's time to sequester. And I was like, well, this is pretty clear cut to me. I wonder what everyone else thinks. So then I was thinking to myself, I was fantasizing. I said, all right, I've seen this in the movies before on TV, that they're going to pick me as the foreman, and then we're going to go in there, I'm going to get everybody together, and then someone's going to hold out, and it's going to be a big thing, and maybe we'll get sequestered.
You can do 12 Angry Men.
Exactly. That's what I was picturing in my mind. And then 2 seconds later, they pick two numbers out, and they say, you two are alternate jurors, meaning me and someone else. And I didn't even get to go in the jury room. Then I had to go sit in another room. And there you go. And the case was over. They came back in 10 minutes. And,
Did you get $2?
What?
Did you get $2 for it?
$5.
$5?
Thanks, wow. There you go, Dee Dee. It could be your career.
Yes. I will be needing that.
Yeah, so that was my civic duty, and I actually enjoyed it this time. Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house. And now we're going to talk. Since Stephen is not here again, and we have Courtney replacing him, once again we have a women's panel. So I think we should discuss women's issues as me being the new Phil Donahue.
Tread lightly, my friend.
Right, so I was thinking, how do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about? Like cramps, leggings, drinking wine in your sweatpants?
I think leggings are a good topic for Courtney.
Yeah, I do like the leggings.
I loved your leggings.
Who doesn't? Isn't that like the best thing that ever happened to women?
Seriously.
It's actually the best thing that happened to men too. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, but they make us fat. Because we don't realize it just grows with us. So then you look like 3 months later when you've been wearing a lot, and you're like, oh my God, I don't fit into my jeans because I've been wearing leggings and just eating my way.
Yes. But you can breathe.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm a big fan.
So wear a big sweater, nobody will know.
There you go.
Now, how does this benefit men?
Well, men like to look at women in leggings.
They do?
What do you mean?
What? I don't know. I'm a girl.
Leave little to the
anything tight. So.
What movie do you like better? Beaches or Steel Magnolias?
Steel Magnolias.
What?
Me too. Steel Magnolias.
I don't watch any of that stuff.
You don't watch girl movies?
No.
Steel Magnolias was a classic.
He cried like
no, I had something in my eye! All right, enough of that.
Sorry, I'm not one of those girls.
How dare you? Now,
oh, I dare.
Hey, welcome back to Live from Dennis's house. I almost said Dee Dee's house.
Because it is a Cha-Cha and Dee Dee show.
Yeah, you guys messed me up. So, all right. So now we're going to go to the word on the street and talk to Cha-Cha and find out what's going on in the terrible world of celebrity.
Well, I have a really good story. It's about Elton John.
What?
One of my favorites, yes. Elton John is being sued by his ex-security guard, Jeffrey Wettinger, for sexual harassment.
Whoa!
Yes.
Ooh.
The allegations are on 3 different occasions in Elton John's car, the star grabbed the security guard's genitals.
Whoa!
Yes.
That's
And
wrong.
Elton was alleged to have said, okay, get your togger out. Now, togger is British for...
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, okay. And then he said, say hello to Uncle Elton. And then, one time while putting his hands down Wettinger's shirt and grabbing his nipples, Elton supposedly said, you gorgeous thing, you.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, well, how dare he?
But, of course, Elton John and his lawyers adamantly denied these
I would hope
charges,
so.
saying that it never happened and that this is just another case of a disgruntled ex-employee and looking for an easy payday.
And that's what the thing is.
So I'll stay abreast, if you will.
Oh, I will.
Well,
So
I'm sitting next to you.
the sick, sad world of celebrity, like I said.
Yes.
So now we're going to find out what's going on with Dee Dee.
I took my son to see Joe Satriani at
very
the
nice.
Count Basie Theater. And it was 3 hours of outer spacey, like freaky, sounds that guitars normally never make. And he's got a guy that I don't know everybody's name in the band. The band was really tight. The guy that plays with him guitar and also keyboard. But when you close your eyes, you can't tell who's playing guitar if it's him or his guy. That's how good his band is. That his guitar player is just as good as he is. And it was just amazing to see how this guy can make sounds that you never knew a guitar could make, and how fast he can shred and go up and down scales like 100 miles an hour. Just amazing. And then his bass player, they had one number. What they did was he would do riffs from different songs like Black Sabbath and Zeppelin and stuff like that. And the bass player, note for note, would do the exact same. And, some of those things are really fast.
Yeah.
Bass player is awesome. 5-string bass, really cool. It was a really good show, visually impressive, nice crowd. The crowd was insane. The place was packed. So it was really good. And we had a burger at Jamie's prior. Just saying, the burgers at Jamie's are really good. And so is dessert. So that was my big adventure. My son is a drummer, and I like to take him to rock and roll shows.
Yeah.
Stephen has mad cow disease?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Hoof and mouth, and mad cow, and explosive diarrhea.
Oh, and I heard he had coxsackie, too, that all the little kids get.
I think Elton John's bodyguard had that.
That's a real this little kids get. Just saying.
Stephen told me one time that he went to a Spanish hooker named that one time. No, it's a Chinese hooker, Japanese hooker. I ruined the whole joke. The Spanish hooker. Remember the Spanish hooker's name that Stephen went to?
Coxsackie?
No,
I don't
Spanish
know.
hooker's name was LBJ.
LBJ.
And the Japanese hooker was Coxsackie.
Well, Stephen, just fluids, Motrin every 4 hours, and a lot of sleep.
Yes.
This
There you
one's
go.
for you,
Yeah.
Stephen.
All right, let's talk to our guest now, Courtney McManus. Everyone give a big hand for Courtney. All right, so Courtney is a very interesting girl here and an awesome singer. She recorded 2 songs before, Fleetwood Mac and her own original song. And I always say this, but she really did sing like an angel.
She did.
It was
I told you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yes.
It was
Bill,
beautiful.
the engineer, was weeping over there in the
was.
corner.
Cried like a
It
baby.
was great. So, all right. So, Courtney, we're now going to find out everything there is to know about you.
Okay.
We're going to start from the beginning. Now, let's tell us about your musical career, how you found out you were a great singer, and did you used to sing into the hairbrush, do shows for your parents, that kind of stuff? Or
No, actually, it's super embarrassing. I used to take this little tape recorder, and when I would go to the bathroom, I'm not even lying. It's embarrassing, but it's true. When I would go to the bathroom, I would sit on the toilet and write songs and record them, and then I would come out and be like, "Mommy, look what I made." And then at the end of it, you'd hear bang and flush. My mom said, you might want to not do that. And you might not want to record in there anymore. I was so little.
But you know, that's
Great
what everybody
acoustics.
says, the best acoustics. Yeah,
Right.
so you're
Yeah.
ahead of your time.
That in a
yeah.
church.
Yeah.
A church has
Yeah,
great
yeah.
acoustics.
Imagine the toilet in a church, what that would sound like.
It's so
Yes.
embarrassing, actually. I think you guys
Imagine.
might be the only people that I've told that.
I heard they recorded Stairway to
All
Heaven
people.
in a toilet church. Church toilet.
Yeah, if I could find one of those, I'd record a new album in there.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so progress now in your career here.
So no more toilet singing. I've left that in the past. But I will say that I write 90% of my songs and ideas come when I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
Which I guess
Okay.
is like the one time I don't have a bunch of stuff.
Right,
like,
going through your mind.
Yeah, the phone's not ringing. But then I'm like, oh, I don't have a pad and paper here.
Yeah.
So I just look at it like if I forget it, then it wasn't catchy enough and good enough
Yeah.
anyway. So, but I started singing karaoke at like 12 years old in the bars. My aunt, yes.
You were at bars at 12.
I know.
Wow.
It sounds like my parents were not good parents, but they were great. It's just that
You grew
my
up in the
aunt,
South?
No, my aunt was a bartender, and she
okay.
worked at this place that was very family friendly. And I would go down there and sit at the bar, and my mom
With
would be
Hooters.
there, and my aunt would be there. I wish it was Hooters, wings all night long. And then I would just go up and start singing karaoke, and then I started beating people because they had these contests.
Wow.
I was like 12 years old, like 40-year-old people I was
Oh,
beating.
man, that's
And I was
embarrassing.
winning things that I like couldn't take home, like champagne and stuff, and they'd take it away from me.
Ah,
And
all
then,
right.
yeah, and then as I got
Check.
older, I was like 16, 17, and I started doing the same thing. And I was like, I never have to be hungry again because I just keep winning these gift certificates to eat. So I was always like able to go out to eat. And then, I don't know, a friend of mine saw some ad on Craigslist like way back in the day when it was very creepy
Before-
and
yeah.
you really didn't know
Oh,
what was
yeah,
on there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it was like 2000 maybe. And she said, oh, this guy that works for like EMI and does some stuff for Disney is looking for somebody. So I gave him a call and I went in and auditioned. I think I sang like 3 lines of like a cover of Janis Joplin, and he stopped me, and I was like, oh, he's gonna say, get the hell out of here. You're like, what are you doing? You're wasting my time. And he was like, you're really good. Let's do something together. So I started to write with him, and that was the first song I ever had to be played on the radio.
Wow.
It was exciting.
Awesome.
It was
What
very
was your first
exciting.
song on the radio?
Pushing Me Away, it was called. Yeah.
Very
I
nice.
have to say, the song you played, I wish you have a CD.
I have a lot of stuff on YouTube. Not YouTube. Well, there is stuff on YouTube, but a lot of stuff on iTunes and like Google Music and all that stuff. Because we started just recording each song individually for this new album. Instead of doing an actual album, we're just playing a singles game. So we feel like we just keep throwing singles out there. Like I have another one that's going to come out really soon. I decided to do a cover of Love Song by The Cure.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's very different, and you know, it's one of the most downloaded, I think they said, like 80s tunes. So we're hoping that it does well. So we're super excited about that. That'll probably come out maybe like in the next 2
You're
weeks
gonna
or
kill
so.
with that.
Yeah. So no
Yeah.
actual album, but like just tons of singles.
Awesome.
Didn't I tell you she doesn't sound like anyone?
You're right, absolutely.
Right, that's what I was thinking when I was
Yes,
listening
like,
to the song today. I was like,
thinking,
who? Because normally that's the first thing you do is you compare.
compare.
Oh, it sounds
Yeah.
like this,
Right.
sounds like that, and I couldn't really think of anyone.
Courtney's unique.
Although this morning
beautiful.
it did remind me a little bit of Harvey Feinstein.
I said I was congested.
That was her morning
today.
voice.
Yeah, that was an inside joke here because Courtney texted today that she woke up with allergies and she wasn't feeling good and she sounded like Harvey Feinstein. But
I provided the picture.
yes, it turns out it was not. So
Thank God.
I heard he had Coxsackie once.
He's had a whole bunch of Coxsackie. Sorry.
All right, so now we're going to come up to speed. What else? What other exciting things happened in your career?
Exciting in my career. Well, I actually just got asked to be a part, about a month or two ago, asked to be a part of a new book, which is because I do a lot of public speaking on sexual assault and rape and things like that, and a lot of different classes to help young girls and people who've been affected by it. So I got contacted by Divine Evans, he's the guy that I think he wrote maybe and produced. I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure, but I think he wrote the song. He won a Grammy for Happy that Pharrell did.
Oh, okay.
He's like I think a 5-time Grammy Award winner.
Wow.
He's got like he worked on Janet Jackson stuff and Lady Gaga and Justin Timberlake. Like he's just insanely good at what he does. And I got contacted through a friend who said, hey, do you want to submit a story for this? And it's basically about kind of like sexual harassment and what women as opposed to men have to deal with in the music industry. You know, you meet producers and it's all about kind of the casting couch and things like that. So we were asked to, put in our story. So I'm part of that book now, which is really exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's like a CD that's going with that I'm not actually a part of. But
What's wrong with them? Are they kidding?
Yeah, really.
well, they're in LA and I'm here, and I
so?
could not like go back and forth. But it's a really exciting project, and a lot of the money, most of the money, is going towards a foundation that helps women and rape survivors and things like that. So I'm really proud of it, and it's called Sheet Music Diary of a Songwriter. So you can go to thediaryofthesongwriter.com and order your copy.
Hey, welcome back to Live from Dennis's House. And now we're going to talk about Fleetwood Mac Roommate. This album came out in February 4th, 1977, and it catapulted Fleetwood Mac into superstardom because, as far as I'm concerned, Fleetwood Mac, they say this is their 11th album, but I'm saying it's their second album.
Yeah,
because I didn't
I'm with
like
you.
that bluesy 60s Fleetwood Mac with all those weird people in it, and that I only liked it
Right.
with this lineup, and it started with this album, which they had a lot of hits. It was just called Fleetwood Mac. That's when Lindsey Buckingham and the girl, Stevie Nicks, joined the band.
The girl.
Yeah.
That girl.
Yeah.
And I love that story, though, that they were looking for a guitar player.
Yeah.
And they found Lindsey Buckingham, and they asked him to join. And he said, well, if you want me, you got to take the package deal. I got to bring my girlfriend. And they're like, they're probably all moaning. And then Stevie Nicks shows up and like, yes, 2 for 1, right? And then they went in, they started recording. This album was great, all bunch of fun. And we all know what happened when it came time for rumors, right? That John and Christine were married. Here's an interesting fact about that. Did you know that Christine McVeigh's original maiden name was Perfect? She was Christine Perfect.
Oh my
Really?
God.
Yeah.
I did know
Isn't that the
that.
coolest
That's a
name?
great
I would
name.
never,
I would
give
never
up that
change
name.
that,
I
right?
would never
That
give
was
that
great.
up.
Perfect. That'd be
Feel
so
free to
good.
take that now.
Hi, I'm
Feeling it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's working with Christine McVie. So.
Yeah, right. So she was perfect, and then she married John McVeigh.
There it is.
McVeigh. So when they started recording this, it was all downhill. That Christine and John were going through a divorce, and Lindsay and Stevie were going through a breakup.
Yeah.
So it was excruciating
But that's why it's
time.
so good, probably.
Right,
Best
and
music,
that's
yeah,
why you
makes
could
the best
feel it all in
Passion
here.
and
And plus,
heartbreak.
add on top of that. A mountain of cocaine and alcohol,
Right.
And
anger
you have a
Explosive.
explosive powder keg ready to
Yeah.
explode there, and you could see it coming out because they all were writing songs about how much they hated the other
Each
person.
other.
Yeah, wasn't Christine McVie like sleeping with
Right.
the roadie?
Yes,
or the,
exactly.
Yeah,
and
like,
the song on here
Yes, I
was
love
called
this
You Make
song.
Loving Fun, and it was about her new boyfriend who was standing over there while John has to play the bass to it, and the other guy's in the wings smiling. What?
That's dirty.
How is no one killed during this recording
I
session?
they were
I
all
need a
stoned.
roadie.
don't
I gotta get a
know.
roadie.
It's-
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah, exactly. And then you could see it, like when you see them on stage, like recordings back in the
Yeah.
day when they were going on tour for this and they were singing "Go Your Own Way."
Yeah.
You could see Stevie and Lindsay just like
looks
yelling
of-
at it,
yeah.
each other, "Go your own way." And
Yeah, he
it was
hated her.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's just I can't think of a
loved her.
more scandal-ridden album than this one. It's just because then. What else happened? Stevie started having an affair with the drummer, Mick Fleetwood,
Right.
who was married, right?
Yeah, to her
And-
best friend.
No. You're jumping the gun here. I'm
Sorry.
ready to get to that, right? So she was having an affair with the drummer, Mick Fleetwood, right? And then he, in turn, started having an affair with Stevie's best friend, Sarah.
There we go.
And it all came
Okay.
full circle.
Wow.
That's what it
I
was
mean,
like.
God, I don't even know how they made the album, honestly, with that much stuff going
Exactly.
on.
Best music ever.
Exactly. It sold over 40 million albums, and it became
Awesome.
one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Ever, yeah.
And it was just magic. That's what happens. Through disaster comes magic. And it's just every song on here is great. You just
Yes.
point to any song and it's great. And I love this album. It's a
5-star.
5-star album, I'm
Yep.
going to say. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You notice they haven't had a hit song,
Yeah,
a really
exactly.
good
Since
album like
all
this
that
since.
cocaine and
Yeah.
trauma.
Exactly. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think for your next album,
too
you should
happy
do
to
Rumors
write.
Part 2.
Well, you
And-
could do
Well,
Stevie
anytime me
Nicks,
and my
like,
producer have any
yeah.
kind of disagreement, he's like, it's like Fleetwood Mac. I'm like, we're not Fleetwood Mac. We're not Fleetwood Mac.
Welcome to Live from Dennis's house, only on 474 The Mix. And now it's time. We're going to do the news. But first, we're going to smell the album and we're going to announce our favorite Fleetwood Mac song.
Okay.
Are you ready? So now, this album came out in 1977. Ooh, there's stuff inside here too.
Ooh, some good smell.
Stuff in there.
Oh, picture
Hold
stuff.
that.
See, you just don't get that
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Look, you could spend hours.
Ah, it smells so good. And Courtney, it might not remind you of anything. Oh, no, it might remind you
the
of your
sleeve alone.
dad having albums. I'm sure he had albums, right?
We had lots
that
of
smells
All
albums.
right, so here, pass this down. My favorite song by them is Landslide.
Well, okay, mine is Go Your Own Way.
I love that song.
Wow.
I bet Bill cries during Landslide, too.
I sing out loud.
I never cry.
I used to do that.
Hold me, hold me.
Oh, you like that? Okay.
All right, now we're going to let Courtney smell the album.
Oh, I get to smell
This
the
is
album.
your first time smelling an album, right?
Yeah, it really
Smell-
is.
Yeah.
Smells
Oh,
musty.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
Basement.
musty goodness.
Yeah.
Smells like I'm about to have an allergy attack.
Uh-oh, take it away from
She's going to
Get
go
the
swell.
Benadryl.
Exactly, my lips are gonna pop up.
Do you have an EpiPen?
I'm go your
Did you
own
bring your
way.
EpiPen?
Ah, very
No,
good.
no EpiPen for me. Yeah,
All
Go
right,
Your Own Way
so-
is my favorite, and it's probably my favorite because there's so many different ways to do the song when you
Oh,
perform
it's
it
great,
yourself.
yeah.
All right, so now this story. Christina Palmer Anderson, a 43-year-old woman, was arrested this morning by the St. Louis Police Department after she tore off her husband's genitals with her own teeth as an act of vengeance for an alleged infidelity.
Seems reasonable.
Girls
Yes.
gotta
Is there
do
a
what
theme
girls
with
gotta
you the
do.
past few shows? Just saying. Okay.
Last week was about spiders, so I broke it up a little bit. So anyway, according to WNDR, during her interrogation, Christina confessed that she had been planning her crime since she had surprised her husband having relations with her crystal meth dealer last weekend.
I was going to say, Beth has to be in there somewhere.
So she told police that she had spent many hours sharpening her teeth with a nail file over the last week in order to make the castration easier. She finally put her plan into action this morning and begun by tying her husband's hands and feet to the bed, pretending that it was part of a game. And in an astonishing feat of jaw strength, she then cut through her husband's genitals with her teeth, tearing his penis and testicles from his body. She then left him there, severely bleeding, to go in another room of the house and smoke drugs, of course. So,
What else would you do?
the victim, 47-year-old John Maurice Anderson, was fortunately able to untie himself in a matter of minutes and call 911 before he finally lost consciousness. The police and paramedics arrived a few minutes later and arrested Miss Anderson and transported the husband to the hospital. When the officers arrived to the site, the victim was naked, unconscious, and covered with blood. That's a Saturday night at Stephen's house. And the accused woman was sitting on a couch smoking crystal meth with her face and clothes full of blood. She immediately confessed to castrating her husband, screaming, "I bit his weenie off," over and over again, and bragging about her crime. Christina Anderson will now
sorry.
face charges of first-degree domestic assault and attempted manslaughter. That's really slaughtering a man, I gotta say. As well as possession of drugs and drug paraphernalia. However, she will have to undergo a complete psychiatric evaluation before her trial can begin.
Yeah, thanks.
Her husband remains in critical condition, but the doctors watching him no longer fear for his life. He will remain hospitalized for at least a week, but the damage done to his genitals is permanent and will necessitate some serious reconstructive surgery.
Whatever happens
you
in the
have
good
it.
old days where you would just burn his stuff like on the
Yeah.
front lawn, right?
Yeah.
Like, or throw his
Lorena
stuff out the
Bobbitt, she
window.
could,
Really?
you know.
Tell me to get going. That is like
Took it to-
premeditated
Yes.
and
sharpened
she
her
ruined
teeth.
her own smile to do that.
Well,
That's
now,
not nothing.
I was thinking about this. Now, since she's on crystal meth,
Yeah.
it should be sharpened her tooth, don't you think? Because,
How many
True. How many she really have?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. I just want to say thank you so much for having
Thank
me
you
on.
for
I've had a
coming.
great
Thank you
time.
for being
yes,
Thank you.
yes.
It's a
It was
pleasure.
good time.
And go buy my singles.
Yes, Courtney
Yes.
McManus.
I have to say,
Find me on iTunes.
I would listen to that song over and over again.
Oh, thank
Beautiful
you.
song.
It was beautiful.
Thank you very
Courtney,
much.
You're welcome.
Capital M, small C, capital M, Enos, I believe.
You have no idea how many
can't help
times I've heard,
yourself,
"Can I
you
speak to
jerk."
Miss McManus?" I'm like, "Yes, would you like my husband swollen?"
That was a good way to wrap the show up. Yeah, I like that.
We
Yeah.
don't need Steven.
Let's hear it for Courtney. Yay. So, all right. So, everybody go buy all Courtney's stuff, see her if she ever plays live again, and she will be back. We could check all of us out playing somewhere. Dee Dee's playing at least 7 nights a week. And I'll be out there once in a while, too. And there you go. So now, thanks for joining us here on Live from Dennis's house, only on 474 The Mix, where the music matters. See you next week. We're doing another classic album, Behaving Badly. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, DennisMargello.com. Watch me on the radio, and hear me on the TV and all social media.